Welcome to Prepp Talk. Good morning. Welcome to Prepp Talk. We have a lot on the desktop today, and today we're going to talk about preparing for a cyber attack. How on earth do we prepare for that? But anyway, we're not gonna goof off today. Let's get to the desktop. All right, first on the board today, alleged Chinese cyber attacks target U.S. power and water systems. Now, y'all know that I keep preaching to you that don't forget it takes electricity and apparently internet to get water into your house, okay? The U.S. government officers and cybersecurity experts are warning that the Chinese military is allegedly attempting to infiltrate critical infrastructure, including power and water utilities and transportation systems in the U.S. This was first reported by the Washington Post, and it referenced unnamed officials and security experts that hackers allegedly affiliated with China's People Liberation Army, have burrowed into the computer systems of about 24 critical entities over the past year. The intrusions are said to be part of a broader effort to develop ways to sow panic, create chaos, and snarl logistics in the event that the war breaks out between U.S. and China, which, I mean, it's probably going to. So this report claims that the victims allegedly targeted by the Chinese hackers include a water utility in Hawaii, which is a major West Coast port, and at least one oil and gas pipeline. The hackers are also said to have attempted to attack the operator of the Texas power grid. The alleged victims are not only within the U.S., with several entities outside the U.S. also claimed to have been targeted. Now, why would they target Hawaii, you say? I mean, it's not so close to the mainland. How is that going to affect us? Well, how that is going to affect us targeting a utility in Hawaii is notable because it's the home of the U.S. Pacific Fleet. So, don't forget, the internet disruption is going to affect our military as well. Okay. Now, this is actually just an update to a May report sent out. The first warnings were sent out by Microsoft, and they warned in May that the Volt Typhoon, which has been active since 2021, was suspected of preparing to disrupt U.S.-Asia communication networks in a potential crisis. The sectors the group targets include communications, manufacturing, utilities, transportation, construction, maritime, government, and information technology, and education. So, and we've been reporting about this and warning about this for years, but things are starting to look, they're getting in place. Here's the thing. How is it they're getting in place? Because we let them into our country to open factories, to open businesses, to buy land, to build biologic labs, of which we have like 11 or 12 inside the United States territory. Come on in. They're going to hang us with the rope we sold them. Do you understand? So it's very clear that Chinese attempts to compromise critical infrastructure are in part to pre-position themselves to be able to disrupt or destroy that critical infrastructure in the event of a conflict. It's very possible that our government is just stupid. And here's why I say that. Because most people lean towards, oh, they're corrupt, they're in cahoots, they're going to sell us out. No, not necessarily. I worked in government. Even though it was local government, what I learned is government. What you see in the federal government at the local level is just a trimmed down version. It's pretty much the same. It's the same type of people. And what I learned is there's a lot of stupid people in high positions. There's a lot of messed up people who don't think right in high positions. There are judges in my district that are freaking nuts. Psychotic, okay? And it's no different. So it's not necessarily that they're selling us out. I, honest to God, feel like they're just stupid. They are so full of themselves, and they think that they are so untouchable. And China's about to touch them all over. Moving on. Red alert. Red alert. Legal expert warns new reform bill is the biggest expansion of surveillance since the Patriot Act. Now, I get it. What we just talked about, okay? What we just talked about is why they're doing this. However, as we all know, the government, you give the government an inch, and what do? They take a mile. So we've got this Elizabeth Goteen, she's a prominent legal expert specializing in national security, privacy, and constitutional issues. She serves as the co-director of the Liberty and National Security Program at the Brennan Center for Justice, and a nonpartisan law and policy institute. Goteen is known for her expertise in areas such as government surveillance, privacy rights, and the balance between national security and civil liberties. She frequently writes and speaks on these topics, offering critical insights and advocating for the protection of individual rights in the context of national security. And she is the one who is ringing this bell. And what is this bell? This bell is the House Intelligence Committee's FISA reform bill, known as the FRRA, is set to significantly expand the scope of entities required to assist in the FISA 702 surveillance. This expansion is due to a change in the definition of electronic communication service provider, potentially implicating a wider range of businesses and individuals in surveillance activities. Critically, the bill could allow the government warrantless access to nearly any communication system in America. Now, listen to what a communication system is. Under the proposed bill, entities with access to communication system equipment like Wi-Fi routers. Do you have a Wi-Fi router? I have a Wi-Fi router. Okay. In hotels, libraries, coffee shops, could be forced to serve as surrogate spies. She stated that this is not a theoretical concern, but a significant issue, as even FISA court have publicly cautioned against this provision. Under Section 504, any entity that has access to equipment on which communications may be transmitted or stored, such as an ordinary router, is fair game. What does this mean? It's very, very simple. Hotels, libraries, coffee shops, other places that offer Wi-Fi to their customers could be forced to serve as surrogate spies. They could be required to configure their systems to ensure that they can provide the government access to entire streams of communication. And this includes and is not limited to repair persons who come to fix the Wi-Fi in your home. Yeah, that person is an employee of a service provider who has access to equipment, which is your router, on which communications are transmitted. Do you see the loophole? Here's the thing. We all know that the government will throw out broad language like this. Okay? And I used to write I used to write this language for my local government. I wrote policy for the sheriff's department. I understand what broad language means. Now, of course, the government's going to say, oh, well, this is, of course, we don't want a terrorist to go into Starbucks with his laptop and sit there and plan the destruction of our infrastructure. We get that. We don't want that either. But we also know that people like me who might be researching underground news that the government doesn't want public to the people, making videos like I'm making, okay? They don't want that either. And when do we worry about the government gaining access? I've been silenced many times for videos I put out on YouTube. I am not the only one. Okay? I am not the only one. So, this could... You're worried about your phone. You're worried about your phone. You're worried about TikTok. You're worried about whatever, and that ain't shit. Because they're going to come straight into your house. They're going to come straight into your home. Now, of course, the sponsors deny that Section 504 is intended to sweep so broadly. Of course they are. What is the provision intended to do, and how is the government planning to use it? Sorry, that's classified. But at the end of the day, the government claimed intent matters little. What matters is what the provision on its face actually allows, because as we all know by now, the government will interpret and apply the law as broadly as it can get away with. What this means, people like me who make their living on the internet, and I'm not the only one. When I was at the prosecutor's office, we would have internet disruptions. We couldn't even go to court. Okay? It literally stops business, stops government, stops everything. All I'm saying is, if you're like me and you make your living on the internet, you might be thinking about a plan B. Because if the internet doesn't go down, they're going to be watching you like it's 1984. Okay? All right. We'll move along. Hamas, and this is just a reminder because I actually reported on this a while back. Hamas attacks reminder that sleeper cells are crossing the southern border. They're already here. This was an October 11th article put out by Fox News. Over 1,000 Israelis were killed by Hamas terrorists who stormed across the country's southern border over the weekend. I'm going to read that again. This happened in October. Did you hear about it? Listen again. Over 1,000 Israelis were killed by Hamas terrorists who stormed across the country's southern border. This happened on our land. Here in the United States of America. One immigration expert told Fox News Digital it's a reminder the U.S. southern border is vulnerable to terrorist crossing. This is how our sleeper cells are coming in. This is how the sleeper cells are coming in. Particularly the 1.7 million known gotaways, those who evaded Border Patrol. 1.7 million got away. It takes my breath away. It honest to God does. I'm not even kidding. They didn't want to be fingerprinted because they're either known or suspected terrorists themselves, convicted, aggravated felons, smuggling drugs, or some combination thereof. So, when you combine 1.7 million with the 7.4 million CBP has encountered, we have to assume the sleeper cells of terrorists are already here in the United States, and Congress needs to wake up. But here is where I'm going to go back to what I said. They're stupid. They think they're untouchable. They think that they're untouchable. That's the problem. And they're not untouchable by any means. Biden admin may have lost track of millions of migrants crossing southern. Lost track. Just lost track. I don't know. They're coming over so fast I can't count them. It's an open door down there. I'm all for helping people, and they're in horrible situations, war-torn countries, to come over here to the United States. And I think a lot of them are that. But here's the problem. We're dealing with a world war right now. Several. Soon to be 3. In the 3 countries. There's more than 3 countries involved, but 3 large countries at war at the same time. That is a world war. Okay? We can't be so relaxed. But here we are. Already with the Hamas and pro-Hamas protests in the U.S. this week in New York City, that was a very public signal to say, yes, we're here. Did you hear about the holiday parades being stopped? No, you probably didn't. Or it was so fast it didn't even click to you what happened. The Thanksgiving Day parade was stopped. When asked about national security threats to the United States after Hamas attacks on Israel, a spokesperson at the Department of Homeland Security told Fox News Digital Wednesday DHS does not have specific and credible intelligence indicating a threat to the United States at this time stemming from Hamas terrorist attacks in Israel. So they will maintain, there's nothing going on. There's nothing happening. Everything's cool. Don't be scared to go out and spend your money. Go. Have a good time. Spend your money, please. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. The department is closely monitoring unfolding events. We'll continue to engage in information sharing with our intelligence and law enforcement partners at home and abroad. Meanwhile, fiscal year 2023 broke the record for encounters on the FBI terror watch list, with 151 people encountered at the southern border between the ports of entry, a higher number than the previous 6 years combined. I don't want you to live in fear. I'm not here telling you to not go out and live in fear, but you need to be understanding that going to large events, especially outdoor events, football games, parades, you need to at least appreciate the fact that that's a risk nowadays. That's a risk. You just need to be aware of it. Russia warns the U.S. that Ukraine will be its second Vietnam. We can't let Putin win, Biden said on Wednesday. This is an article written on the December 7th by Politico. Kremlin spy chief Sergei Naryshkin warned the U.S. that Ukraine will turn into its second Vietnam amid disagreement in Congress over funding for Kiev. Ukraine will turn into a black hole, absorbing more and more resources and people. Russian Foreign Intelligence Chief Naryshkin said Thursday in a written statement published by his agency's journal, The Intelligence Operative. Ultimately, the U.S. risks creating a second Vietnam for itself, and every new American administration will have to deal with it. This warning comes after the U.S. President Joe Biden on Wednesday urged Congress to further support in the Ukraine. Biden, your president, is trying to push through a $61.4 billion emergency funding request for Kiev. But opposition against further aid to Ukraine has grown among Republicans in the House. Now, is it just me? Is it just me? Is our government so disconnected with itself? Because we have this hand, okay? We have this hand that's saying, we're going to have to get rid of Social Security. We're going to have to get rid of welfare. We're going to have to cut Medicaid. We're going to have to do all these things because we're running out of money. Okay? People can't pay their rent. They can't go on unemployment. They can't afford insurance. Okay? They can't afford groceries. And then we have this hand that says, we need to send $61 billion to the Ukraine. We need to make sure Putin doesn't get the Ukraine. It's almost, is it two different government? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's been a long time since I was in high school. Okay. And it's been a few years since I was in college. It's all one government. I'm just trying to tell you, it's 2024 next year, and it's an election year. Pay attention to this shit. All right? You need to be paying attention. The U.S., it was engaged in the Vietnam War, fought between South Vietnam and the U.S. on one side, and the communist north of Vietnam, backed by the Soviet Union and China on the other. For nearly 2 decades, 20 years. The conflict claimed more than 1 million lives, including tens and thousands of the U.S., and ended with a comprehensive victory for the North Vietnamese forces. We lost that war. According to a recent poll, 59% of Americans still support sending military aid to the Ukraine. I would like to know what fucking poll that was. I would like to know. I just don't even know what to say. I just don't even know what to say. All right. In a more domestic news, what is white lung syndrome? Ohio pneumonia outbreak explained. And they clearly, in the headline, we have no evidence whatsoever of any connection to any outbreaks statewide or internationally. As I read my notes from 2020, from December, that statement brings me back to November, December 2019. It's okay. Nothing's happening here. Nothing's happening here. Health authorities in Ohio have alerted in recent days of a pediatric surge of cases of pneumonia in the state. The Warren County Health District said in a statement on Wednesday that 145 cases of pneumonia have been reported in children between the ages of 3 and 14. In an initial news release on Tuesday, the health district confirmed that the spreading illness was deemed an outbreak due to the above average case volume. Of course, in recent media reports, this has drawn comparisons between the spike in cases of mycoplasma, which pneumonia, which is dubbed the white lung syndrome. I talked to you about that last week and the week before in both Ohio and China. But health officials in the state have warned that the outbreak has nothing to do with China. Same thing, nothing to do with China. I mean, I feel like my face is melting. I swear to God. They say the strains seen by Ohio doctors are not spreading from country to country. No, it's just magically appearing. Magic. It's magic. They claim although cases have risen in Ohio, medical experts said the trend was somewhat expected as part of the flu season and that it was potentially exacerbated by COVID restrictions being dropped. We have no evidence whatsoever of any connection to any outbreak statewide or internationally. Man, I know the words to that song. We sang that song for an entire year. Okay, so here's what I say about this white lung, because I learned from my mistakes. You know, in November, December of 2019, I was telling people, hey, now don't worry about it. They're saying it's okay. They're saying it's not related. They're saying it's not coming over here. You know, it's okay. And then, bam, March 2020, shut down. So I'm not falling for it again. Not going to fall for it again. I was live on TikTok last night, and I was saying to people, if I was in a position where I was in the public, you know, a cashier, a restaurant, maybe I do hair, give massages, whatever, work in a hospital in the, well, they do anyway, so that doesn't count. But, you know, high traffic, a lot of people, I'd go back to wearing a mask. I would. And I'm going to go back to probably using that Purell again as well. I am going to, while the stock is still in place, buy up some alcohol, 75%, and then there's the 92%. I'll probably get the 92%. Go ahead and buy some of that up. Go ahead and buy some of the wipes up, because I think here it comes again. I'm not lying. Here it comes again. Here's the other scary thing. I am a long COVID sufferer. My lungs never have come back to their original capacity after I had COVID. Okay? They do not have I'm always out of breath. They just do not have the capacity that they had before. I can't afford to get this pneumonia. I don't know that I would survive it. I'm just saying. I'm not going to lie. I'm just saying. I would be hesitant in that I would survive it. You need to keep track. You need to be getting on the internet every day and seeing, because they're not going to tell us till it's too late. They're not going to tell us until everybody's freaking getting sick. And this is hitting the kids the worst and first. So I know there are people that are already pretty sick here in Missouri, and they're testing for COVID, but it isn't the same. They're even sicker. One friend of mine got COVID twice. He's got it now, and he's way sicker than he was before. So you need to be aware. You need to be aware of what's going on. All right, and along with this, you might also be hearing about the 100-day cough, which is happening over in the UK. UK health officials issue warning amounting to highly contagious infection. 100-day cough can cause hernia, sore ribs, middle ear infections, and urinary incontinence. They're talking about it like it's a whooping cough. Health experts in the UK have issued a warning about a highly contagious disease known as 100-day cough that's rapidly spreading through and across the UK. The bacterial infection experiencing a surge of 250% in cases begins with symptoms resembling a cold, but then progress into a prolonged and intense coughing lasting up to 3 months. UK Health Security Agency said that between July and November, there were 716 reported cases. That's 3 times higher than the same period in 2022. Goes into telling you about whooping cough. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases say that whooping cough can make it difficult to breathe. Intense cough can also lead to vomiting, sore, or even fractured ribs. Whooping cough is preventable, and a vaccine is available that can protect children, and most of our kids have. But I think basically what's happening is the older adults, even though they were maybe vaccinated as a child, it's wore off, it's wore out. So we've got that. That's just in the UK. Okay, there are people who fly back and forth from the UK across the pond daily. Thousands of people. Okay? Highly contagious. So this is what I'm going to say, and this I'm reiterating what I said. You know, you need to be getting your masks out. You need to be stocking up now. Because once these pandemics hit, okay, everyone watching this video knows, or should know. Once these hit, alcohol's going to be gone. Masks are going to be gone. Everything to sanitize, sterilize, wipes, all that stuff, bleach, all is going to be gone. So you need to be stocking up on that now. Okay? Don't wait. Don't wait till the last minute. Just pick up, a bottle of alcohol is less than $3. Grab a bottle. Every time you go to the store, grab a bottle. Okay? Grab a bottle of the wipes, the disinfecting wipes. Grab a bottle of Lysol. Just grab a bottle. And toss it back into the bathroom closet. Okay? We've all been there, we all know. And this article was just December 10th, so it was just a few days ago. So this is current events. This is happening. Okay? We've got months, the months of January and February. Okay? Those were the 2 months that when COVID hit in March, it was January and February that everything exploded and caused the shutdown in March of 2020. Okay? We've got those 2 months are coming up on us, and we've got all this crap knocking at our door. So, don't mess around. Now, the other thing we need to worry about with China and the U.S., in each other's faces right now, is our dependence on China for life-saving drugs. It just grows and grows and grows. Again, I reiterate, they will hang us with the rope we sold them. U.S. imports of Chinese-made pharmaceuticals are soaring to meet shortages at home, with authorities in some cases greenlighting drugs not formally approved for American use. In the recent example, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said on July 10th that it had allowed additional emergency shipments of cisplatin, a drug commonly used in chemotherapy, from China's Kelun Pharmaceutical. Kelun's version of the drug is not approved by the FDA. We will continue the importation until approved manufacturers can meet all of our patients' needs. We have seen this not only in the chemotherapy, but regular drugs that we're on. My son is on a and I don't know what it is. It's a ADHD drug, and it's not the popular one. It's another one. They couldn't get it. Ritalin. It's not Ritalin. They had to give him Ritalin though. I think it was that month because he couldn't get his drug. Okay. So it's all over. It's across the board. This is affecting all kinds of drugs. The U.S. imported $6.95 billion worth of pharmaceuticals from China in 2022, and that is up more than eightfold from the $820 million the year before. So we went from $820 million to $6.95 billion. The largest contributing factor for China's market share growth has been domestic policies China has implemented with the goal of building a world-class advanced pharmaceutical manufacturing industry. Now, it's not just drugs that we're getting tight with China about. The U.S. increased imports of pharmaceuticals from China resemble a lesser extent its dependence on the country for electric vehicle components. U.S. imports of lithium-ion batteries from China more than doubled in 2022. The U.S. also relied on China for around 80% of nickel, graphite, and other key minerals used in electronic vehicles last year. Once again, White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said in April, clean energy supply chains are at risk of being weaponized in the same way as oil in the 1970s or natural gas in Europe in 2022. Again, we learned, it's like the government learned nothing with the supply chain issues that happened. Okay, we go to war with China, they're going to cut us off completely. So even if they don't succeed in throwing our internet down the drain, destroying our infrastructure, even if we manage to protect that, we're not going to have shit. Okay? Lithium-ion batteries. Think about that. Lithium-ion batteries. Those are in your watch. It's in your phone. It's in your computer, your laptop, your tablets, cameras. Anything that's rechargeable. Okay? What are you going to do? Well, FEMA is going to tell you what to do. They're telling you to be prepared. Be prepared for a cyber attack. Cyber attacks can lead to loss of money, theft of personal information, and damage to your reputation and safety. This is sent out. This is from June 2018. So FEMA has been, trying to give you hints since 2018. Cyber attacks are malicious attempts to access or damage a computer system. This includes computers, mobile phones, gaming systems, other devices. It can include fraud and identity theft. It can block your access or delete your personal documents and pictures. It may target children. May cause problems with business services, transportation, and power. So how do you protect yourself? FEMA says, keep software and operating systems up to date. Use strong passwords and two-factor authentication, 2 methods of verification. Watch for suspicious activity. When in doubt, don't click. Do not provide personal information. Use encrypted internet communications. Create backup files and protect your home's Wi-Fi network. From whom? We may ask. How to stay safe when a cyber attack threatens. Keep your antivirus software up to date. Use strong passwords. Use stronger authentication. Watch for suspicious activity. Limit the personal information you put out. During a cyber attack, limit the damage. immediately go through changing your passwords and whatnot, scan and clean your devices, consider turning off the device, taking it to a professional, let work, school, or other system owners know, contact banks, credit cards, etc. After the report, you file a report with the Office of the Inspector General. This is for, I guess, if you're hacked. If we go to the Patriot Supply page, though, they give us some real ways to prepare for large-scale cyber attacks. There will come a day when a hacker comes after you individually. You'll likely already received your fair share of phishing emails. While you can take steps to prevent your personal information from being stolen by cyber criminals, you can prevent large-scale cyber attacks as well. That doesn't mean you should just put your head in the sand. Just the opposite. If the WF is correct, and we do experience a catastrophic cyber attack in the near future, like they're predicting that we are, you need to prepare for major emergencies. They're saying to consider what the Prime Minister of Albania learned. Cyber criminals can cripple a nation. Banks will shut down. The grid may go down. Water systems may not be safe, and so on. It could easily be like an apocalypse. With that being said, preparing for cyber attacks start with practicing emergency preparedness. Invest in a water filtration system. One of the scarier cyber attacks that recently happened was when a cyber criminal tried to poison a Florida city's water supply. The hacker gained access into their systems and upped the sodium hydroxide levels to dangerous levels. Unfortunately, these types of cyber attacks on critical infrastructures, such as water treatment plants, are on the rise. And given that public water systems can be attacked by cyber criminals, it's wise to consider investing in a water filtration system. Okay, even if it's just one of those straws, okay? Stock up on emergency food, just as you would stock up before a hurricane or keep a pantry full of non-perishables in the winter. You should have emergency food in case of a cyber attack. As mentioned, a cyber attack may bring down critical infrastructure such as the power grid or banking systems. If either of these are affected, you would be unable to buy any groceries. Okay? Keep your gas tank full. Okay? This is one of the first preparedness tips of any disasters. It takes just a few minutes. Just take a minute and remember what happened when cyber criminals attacked the Colonial Pipeline last year. Gas prices rose, and gas became hard to get. Should a major cyber attack occur, getting gas will likely become an issue. For example, if the power grid goes down, gas stations will stop pumping, and credit card machines will stop working. Okay? Have some cash on hand. Okay? Because if the power grid goes down, the credit card machines are going to quit working. The ATMs will stop working. And for this reason alone, you should always have some cash on hand. They're not suggesting you need to keep all your cash hidden in the mattress. Although, me? Yeah. I'm sorry. They recognize the importance of putting your money in accounts where it can grow, but keep a little on hand for necessities should you face an extended power outage. Have an emergency communication plan. If there was a cyber attack that made it impossible to use your cell phone, how are you going to get in touch with your spouse or your kids? What if the internet goes down across the nation? Chances are the cell towers are going to go down. Take time to write down the phone numbers, name, phone, addresses, and discuss with one another how you would reach each other in the event of emergency. Have a plan, if I'm away from home, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Okay? Where is there a meetup? You just need to get with your family and figure it out. Now, on a small scale, how do you prepare for personal cyber attacks? You protect your home network. You make sure you have locked up your home's network and have made it as hard as possible for a cyber criminal to access us. Protect your PII, which stands for personally identifiable information, which includes data such as your full name, address, mailing address, phone number, and social security number. While we are focusing on large-scale attacks, you still need to limit what you share online and through apps. Store important documents carefully. It's a good idea to keep hard copies of important documents in a fireproof, waterproof lockbox. Set up multi-factor authentication. The CISA director, Jen Easterly, told Harvard Business Review that multi-factor authentication makes you 99% less likely to get hacked. I love two-factor ID. Two-factor ID. On my computer, anytime I put in a password, it asks me for a PIN. Okay? My PayPal, same way. Two-factor identification. Without that PIN, you're not going to get in. Even if you know my password, without that PIN, you can't get in. Without that PIN, you can't get in. Without that PIN, you can't get in. Check your accounts regularly. Good way to know if you've been personally victimized is by checking your bank account and your investments accounts regularly. Stay aware of the threats. Be informed. Know what's happening. Know the chance of threats. Know how to protect yourself. The fact of the matter is, one, if not more than one of these things is going to go down within the next year. I will base my reputation on it. I know it's going to happen. We're not talking about apocalypse. We're not talking about Mad Max type shit, okay? But I do believe we're going to have internet problems. I do believe we're going to have issues with the war. I think we're going to have issues with, supply chain issues. So think about what we've gone through and use that knowledge to protect yourself this time around. There's no reason to be scared about it. There's no reason to worry about it. If you've got these things in place, you've got these things planned, if or when things go down, it'll be okay. You'll get through it. Chances are it's going to be a temporary situation, just like COVID was, but it's still going to be a situation. All right, don't be scared. Be prepared. If you have any questions, write them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next week. Nana Prepp out.